All right. Well, it looks like I am live. Again, it's always a little difficult to tell with these live things since there is a little bit of a lag between what I put out and what you guys see. It's maybe 20 seconds or so. No, it's much less. It's about 10 seconds. So we are now live. We are here. It is a wonderful Sunday morning, right? You guys have all had a epic Saturday of difficulty and hard work. And for that, you should be grateful because that type of growth, that type of struggle is key to becoming who you need to be and becoming who you really truly want to be. Now, I'm going to keep this one short. Again, these calls aren't supposed to be terribly long. They're mostly just a chance for us to just pause wherever we are throughout the world, join together, have a sip of sparkling water, and take some time to focus on who we truly are and what we're truly trying to do, right? Because it's difficult for most people to stay focused and to achieve what they're trying to achieve, mainly because they get distracted and they get unfocused. And that's one of the powers and the beauty of this copywriting campus is because it is a group and because we have these, let's say, daily rituals where we meet together and we talk together, it gives us an opportunity to maintain our focus and maintain the momentum moving forward towards who we want to become. All right. So, again, but you don't need to do that over the course of an hour or 2 hours. You can do that over the course of 5 to 10 minutes. So that's what these calls are going to be. They're going to be short, quick, exciting calls where we discuss important concepts. We remind ourselves of our true focus and we move forward towards achieving our goals quickly and with a lot of furious, happy energy, right? Now, I teased in the little announcement message earlier today that on this call, I was going to be sharing one of my favorite and least known Genghis Khan stories. Now, I'm a fan of Genghis Khan, right? It's kind of difficult to find information about him today that isn't polluted by people trying to overly moralize his actions and talk about genocide and stuff like that. And I don't really want to go into that, but it's undeniable that Genghis Khan was perhaps the most.
I got my Superman sweater
That's
on.
wonderful. Can you go over there? I'm finishing this call. My 4-year-old wanted to join in. I need to finish this call. And it's undeniable that he is absolutely and entirely perhaps the most successful man that had lived until that point, right? He conquered a huge part of the world. He did a lot of amazing things. He innovated a lot in warfare. He led his men well. But it's interesting to learn about his rise to power because most historians just treat him as just some barbarian that descended down from the steppes and just conquered a bunch of civilized people through pure and absolute brutality. However, if you actually read about him, if you actually read about what he did and what he was and read his words, you soon discover that he was a highly intelligent and highly developed man. There is a reason he was able to conquer and overcome so many other men, so many other kingdoms, right? And I'm just going to read a short part of the story from this one book. Now, this is an old book. It was written like the 1920s about Genghis Khan. You have to go back that far to get one that's not terribly politically correct. But in this book, the author, he was a cool dude. Actually, side note, the author he went on to be the OSS commander in Iran during World War II, I believe. Yeah, definitely during World War II. That's when the OSS was a thing. So he was a stud. He was a G, right? But he talks about Genghis Khan and sort of his ascendancy. The first real country besides Mongolia that Genghis Khan conquered was China, which then they called Cathay, right? Back in the 20s, old school China was called Cathay, right? And growing up, Genghis Khan was technically a servant or a vassal state. Mongolia was a vassal state of China, right? Like technically, he was a subject of the Chinese emperor. Well, at one point, Genghis Khan is able to sort of conquer Mongolia, unite the tribes, do something that had never been done before. And he turned around and James, I need to finish this call. Yeah, I'll put the sheath on. Go away. This is fun. Well, someday you guys will have sons and they'll want to be in your office and do fun things with you and you'll understand. Anyways, as Genghis Khan's, as he grew and ascended up through the throne, he defeated all the local tribes and then but he was technically a subject of the Emperor of China, and he respected him to a degree. But he always knew that someday he wanted to conquer China. Well, one day the emperor's emperor dies. He dies, and his son rises to the power, right? But the problem is his son, this guy named Wei Wang, was kind of a wuss. He just liked painting and vacationing, and he didn't really. He seemed like an ordinary man, and so the Emperor of China sent envoys out to all of the vassal states for everyone to swear their allegiance to the new emperor. I'm going to read to you what Genghis Khan said and what he did as a result. So Genghis Khan, the envoy comes to him, and Genghis Khan asks, "Who is the new emperor?" He asked. "Wei Wang." Instead of inclining his head toward the south, the Khan spat, "I thought the son of heaven should be an extraordinary man, but an imbecile like Wei Wang is unworthy a throne. Why should I humiliate myself before him?" With that, he mounted his horse and rode away. That night, the Orkhorns, that's his chieftains, were summoned to this pavilion with new allies and blah, 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 these people and all those guys. And the next day, the envoy was called before Khan and given the message to take back to the Golden Emperor. "Our dominion," said the Mongol, "is now so well ordered that we can visit Cathay. Is the dominion of the Golden Khan," which was the name of which is what they referred to as the king of China, "was so well ordered that he can receive us. We will go with an army that is like a roaring ocean. It matters not whether we are met with friendship or war. If the Golden Khan chooses to be our friend, we will allow him the government under us of his dominion. If he chooses war, it will last until one of us is victor, one defeated." So it's really interesting because the foundational dynamic that occurred in that exchange was that Genghis Khan, he realized that he was the superior man in comparison to the Emperor of China, the new emperor, this average person who had decided to take his father's throne, who had obviously neglected the difficult work of becoming a powerful and strong man, and as a result was inferior. He was not worthy to rule the dominion of Cathay or China. And Genghis Khan recognized that he was a superior man, one who had done the hard work. He had a life of difficulty, a life of challenge. He embraced that, and he attempted difficult things. He risked his life. He risked things, and he forged himself into a superior man, which allowed him to view this lesser man and his dominion and simply decide that since he was the better man, since he had God's favor, he had earned God's favor more than this man, he could take that empire. And over the course of the next few years, he goes on and conquers China. And it's interesting that when China actually fell, it was because of the cowardice of that Wei Wang. It was his display of weakness that undid everything. And that occurred 2 or 3 years after Genghis Khan initially set out to conquer China. But Genghis Khan knew it would happen because he knew his opponent was a lesser man. Now, how does this apply to copywriting? How does it apply to us conquering our own little kingdoms in our life? If you do the work to become a superior man, develop superior mastery over your skills, over your ability to communicate, over your ability to market. If you become that man, you can look out on the world and find areas, you can find markets, you can find clients, you can find people who are inferior or who are being marketed by an inferior man to you. And you can then have the supreme confidence to reach out and take it for yourself, right? That is the lesson you can take from that obscure story of Genghis Khan. If you do the work, if you become the man who deserves the results that you want, you can simply reach out and take it. So with that being said, we're going to call this call a quit at the end of the day for the call. You're going to go out. We're going to have a good Sunday. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to continue to hustle, continue to grind, and continue to improve ourselves and become the kind of man who deserves the success that we want and who can look at the world and defeat or overcome lesser men and their paltry domains. So that's the Sunday lesson. We'll take that. We'll go out and make some money. We'll have a good time. Let's take this energy and use it to conquer our worlds.